You know, the most annoying thing about season 7 is actually that in almost every single previously on The Vampire Diaries, they keep jump scaring me with clips of my boy. And I'm like, can you guys just knock it off and let me grieve in peace? Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to yet another week talking about The Vampire Diaries. We're gonna get into a gossip session about season 7. It's time. We have to. I almost took a week off. I almost said, I can't do this right now, but I'm here, so y'all gotta stick with me, okay? We can get through this together. I can't do this on my own. Don't abandon me now. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe simply because I'm going through season 7 with you episode by episode. I'm not changing my format to make it easier on us. We're just diving in as we've been doing, okay? We have a lot to go over in this first episode. Let's just get right into it. We open with Stefan breaking into a storage unit where there's 2 coffins. He opens one up. It's Damon's desiccated body. He gives him a blood bag and he's like, Damon, brother, I need you. You have to wake up. Wake up, Damon. Wake up. And then Damon sits up in the coffin and is like, We cut to Caroline in present day writing to Elena in her journal. Remember, Elena asked them to all keep journals. It's only been a few weeks since the end of season 6. Damon took Rick over to Europe to party away his grief, and Bonnie is there with them babysitting because they should not be left alone. Matt's about to graduate and officially be a deputy for the town. Stefan comes over and talks to her. We learn that there are blood bags missing, and also Lily is missing, and the heretics are missing. Nobody knows exactly where they are right now at this point. But if the blood bags are missing, it's kind of safe to assume maybe they did that. Also, things are very weird here between the 2 of them, and he's kind of like, I made it a thing, I'm so sorry. And she's like, yeah, you did, you made it a thing. So now they're flirty vibes, but also they're agreeing to just be friends. I'm sure that'll last a super long time. As Stefan walks away from Caroline, there's another girl also in the park writing on a bench in a journal. She's talking about how she's overwhelmed by the new world and she doesn't like it, and this is not the world she thought she was going to be coming back to, so it's safe to assume this is the first heretic that we're meeting. As she's walking across the street, she gets hit by a car, and then the couple that gets out of the car, the guy has been smoking, so he's like, I'm so high right now, we have to just run away. And the girlfriend agrees, even though she wants to help. So they get in the car, they drive away. The heretic wakes up and is just like, see what I mean? This place freaking sucks. These humans are the worst. We learn through this one, whose name is Valerie, that Lily has been keeping them kind of sequestered in this little house, and they're still on blood rations, and they're not really allowed to go anywhere. Let's meet them real quickly. Okay, so this is Valerie here. This is Beau. He doesn't talk. This is Mary Louise. She's a little cuckoo. This is Nora. She's Mary Louise's girlfriend. Also the worst. And then Malcolm is the oldest, and he's kind of the golden boy. Nobody likes him. There's also Oscar, who we'll meet later. He's off running an errand that no one will tell us what it is at this point. In Europe, Rick and Damon are so stupid drunk that they keep forgetting where they are. They don't even know what they're doing half the time, and Bonnie is just there babysitting and taking notes, and she's basically like, look, if Rick dies of alcohol poisoning, Elena's gonna want to know how it happened. You'll be happy to know that Damon and Bonnie have now upgraded their friendship to the package that involves him constantly making jokes about how easy it would be for her to die, and her laughing it off and being like, I know you're just kidding, you're so funny, but it's actually kind of, they're having fun with it. It's banter for them. Rick seems to be doing decent, all things considered, and he's really thankful that Damon is there with him, and at least they're going through losing their girlfriends together. Lily is going off to meet with Enzo, which annoys all the heretics because they're like, why aren't we allowed to leave the house? This isn't fair. This is when we learn that the relationship Lily has with them is not we're all family and you're the aunt, you're the uncle, you're the brother, you're the sister, you're the mom. It's not that kind of family. It's Lily is the mom to these 6 random witch vampires. That's what's happening here. Okay, so where's Dad? What's going on with that? We'll find out, and I don't want to do that either. So I don't know if that was like always the vibe, but I never thought that they were like her children replacements. Like I thought that they were just like a family unit. I even thought that like some of them were going to be older than her, but no, Lily's like the mom, and then they're all like under her, taking her orders. While it's very clear that there's like tension amongst the siblings, they definitely like care about each other, kind of like Michelson-esque in a way. And so when they find out that Valerie got hit by that couple, even though these two don't really like her and she definitely doesn't like them, they all go and kill that couple together, even though they know it'll make Lily upset if she finds out. Stefan calls Damon and Rick to update them. Rick is so drunk that he like answers the phone upside down and then has to like flip it back around. And then Stefan's like, hey, I need you to teach me how to make a bomb. And Rick's like, I am way too drunk for this. I'm gonna have to go home and then I will call you back. Goodbye. And he leaves and like stumbles off back to where they're staying. Bonnie's really upset that like Lily won after everything and like the heretics are killing people and they still have to fight the heretics. She's also really upset that Damon is struggling as much as he is because she's like, look, Elena didn't want this for you. Elena wanted you to be happy. She wanted you to like find joy and date and move on and wait for her, but like, you know, also live your life. And he's like, yeah, absolutely not. I won't be doing that. I'm in wallow in my misery mode, okay? I'm having a great time. He takes Rick's drink and finishes it and says that it's like the worst bourbon he's ever had. So she sips it and it turns out it's actually tea. We cut to Rick meeting with somebody that we can assume is a witch in secret. He's got this little red glowy gemstone and he's like, do you know what this is? He's basically trying to find a psychic medium or a witch that can connect to Jo in the afterlife so that he can tell her that he has the freaky glowy magic stone. This guy's a fake though, and so Rick and him get into a fight. And then the guy says maybe Jo is better off dead, so Rick beats the shit out of him. Lily meets with Enzo. She's also looking for that freaky magic stone that Rick has, and we know Rick has, and she's planning on sending Enzo after it. He's annoyed that he's like not part of the family yet, and she's like, in order for that to happen, you're gonna have to like completely turn your back on Damon and Stefan and like never be with them ever again. Can you do that? And because she's like super manipulative and kind of mean now, Enzo's like, yeah, I won't be taking orders from you, and he just refuses and leaves. Caroline's been watching the heretic house, so she now knows that Lily's gone and she's like, okay, Stefan, where's your homemade bomb? I need to go blow them up. So she goes over to the house pretending to be a neighbor bringing flowers while Matt sneaks in the back door and drops the bomb off. The girls, as I said, Nora and Mary Louise, they're kind of the worst. So they like stop Caroline and they're like, we really like your jacket. Give Nora your jacket. Wait a second, you didn't tell Nora that she looks good in the jacket. You can't leave without complimenting her. Caroline's playing along and pretending to be a human, but there's a 1-minute countdown on the bomb, so they need to get out of the house. Matt comes up and he's like, Caroline, we need to go to that barbecue, okay? We gotta go. Let's leave. The girls keep doing things to stop her. Valerie goes, does anybody else smell that? And Caroline's like, grabs Matt, runs away. The house explodes. Damon and Bonnie are now alone, walking together in Europe. They almost get hit by a bus, but Damon saves them. And now that I'm watching this season with my Bayman glasses on, this is a moment for them. And I was like, oh, I see it. I understand what's happening here. What's going on? Because he like grabs her and like slams her into this car to get her out of the way. So he's like all up on her and she's looking up at him and she's like, thank you. And she's definitely kind of into being that close to him. I'm not gonna lie, I could see it in her eyes. I was like, you're thinking about it. And Damon's not really in this moment, but she definitely was. She realizes though that he had seen the car before he saved her. So she's like, did you hesitate? And he's like, yeah, for like 3 seconds. And they get into a fight. She says that they both lost Elena, and while she's super sad that this happened to them, he's gonna have to work on it because at this point there's nothing they can do, and they know that. So he can either resent her or love her, but at the end of the day, he's stuck with her. Stefan calls Lily like, hi mom, we blew up your family. You have 24 hours to leave town. And she's like, oh baby boy, you blew up a house full of centuries old heretics? If I could offer you one piece of motherly advice, it would be this. Run. We go to Matt's graduation ceremony. The heretic girls are there to attack. Find out like officially that Mary Louise and Nora are a couple. They hold hands, they have a moment. Mary Louise pulls away and Nora's like, it's the 21st century, it's okay, we're allowed to be together now. But clearly Mary Louise is still kind of like, yeah, I'm nervous though. So the girls do a spell that makes the sprinklers go off, and then Valerie lights the water on fire. So it just becomes absolute carnage. Once everything's on fire, they start eating people. Bo and Malcolm also show up, so all the heretics are fighting the town right now and just killing everybody. Mary Louise and Nora attack Caroline specifically. Bo and Stefan are fighting. And then all of a sudden Lily shows up and she's horrified and she stops the fighting. She's devastated that the kids broke her rules and like went along with the fighting even though she gave them like strict instructions. And she's like, I sacrificed so much to be with you guys and this is how you repay me. This is how you treat our new town. So literally Matt's entire graduating class gets killed and the new sheriff. All gone. After, while everybody's getting cleaned up, Caroline and Stefan have a moment where he's got like a splinter in his neck and she has to like dig it out, and it's definitely getting flirty for them. Then we get like a joint perspective scene of Caroline and Matt updating Elena in their journals. They basically like made a fake evacuation plan for the town. They lied and said there was like an accident in the mines under the town and that's what started the fire, and so now everybody has to leave, and they just like force evacuated the town. It was actually a deal with Lily, so they basically like gave up Mystic Falls, and so Lily gave them enough time to get everybody out, and then in return Lily and the heretics moved into the Salvatore house, and now they like own Mystic Falls, and any trespassers that come in are fair game. Caroline goes to the park to get her mom's plaque off the like memorial bench that she has, and once she gets there, Enzo is there already doing it, and he's like, I just thought you'd want this for safekeeping, and she's like, yeah, that's why I was coming to get it. He is definitely trying to be nice and like friendly and part of the Mystic Falls gang, and she's just like, yeah, I don't trust you, okay? You need to pick a side, you need to make a decision and quit being around both of us, okay? He says that she sounds a lot like Lily and just sort of storms away because he's sick of everybody like telling him what to do. But like, girl, he was there doing something nice for you. Why couldn't you have just said, thank you, Enzo? That was thoughtful of you. Remember when we were friends a couple months ago? Me too, Caroline. I remember that. You used to like him. What the heck? Damon calls Stefan asking for updates, and Stefan's like, oh, don't worry about it. It can wait until you get home. So Damon walks into the grill. They get into a fight about how Damon thinks that Stefan should have fought harder to save the town and kill the heretics. And Stefan is kind of just like, I did what needed to be done. I saved the people of the town. That's all we could do right now. Damon realizes it all ties back to Stefan wanting to stay and be good for Caroline. But Stefan's like, no, actually, I'm doing this for you. Because when Elena wakes up, if the whole town is dead and gone, she's gonna be pretty mad at you, dude. Bonnie's also really upset that they like gave up and basically let Lily and the heretics have the town. Matt is like, well, here's the thing, Bonnie. They actually were stopped already in 1903, but then you betrayed Kai and he let them out, so now here we are. Y'all gotta quit blaming everything on her. What the heck? We get that shot from the end of season 6 where Matt's driving through town looking at the carnage and Damon's watching from the clock tower all upset like a little emo bat. Damon moves into Elena's dorm room since the house has been taken over, which means he moves into Bonnie's dorm room. Ayo! There was only one bed. Oh my god. She's still mad that he waited 3 seconds to save her, and he's like, listen, okay, in the first second, I thought about how nice it would be to have Elena in my arms again. In the second, I was kissing her. But in the third second, I realized that you're my best friend. And if anything happens to you, I will lose my mind. So I saved you. Can you just calm down? She tells him about how she's internalizing everything and being like, the heretics are out because of me. This is all my fault. I did this. And he's like, no, girl, the heretics are out because my mom is freaking crazy, okay? Bonnie says she isn't scared of Lily and she wants to fight back for the town. We cut to Malcolm killing a trespasser and then getting confronted by Bonnie. But y'all remember after the wedding when she did that to Kai and I told you that he just sort of stayed on his feet and talked through the pain? The same thing happens with Malcolm. So I think it's safe to assume that the heretics are just like magically a little superior. I'm assuming because they can like siphon the attacks while the attacks are happening. I don't know if it's ever explained. I can't remember. That's what I think is happening. But anyway, he walks up to Bonnie and is like, you won't be a witch at all once I take your magic, and goes to siphon her and gets a little villain monologue-y. So then Damon sneaks up behind him and rips his heart out. Y'all gotta get over the talking. You need to just do what you need to do and get out. You could have just snatched Bonnie and run. It would have been so simple. Caroline and Stefan are together and they're kind of like trying to figure out, did we make the right choice? Did we do the right thing? What do we do differently? And he is like, you know, Caroline, we saved everyone. This is what your mom would have wanted. We did the right thing. We saved the town. We'll get it back. But for now, at least all the civilians are safe. She says, you know, I thought I would have healed more from missing my mom by now, but I'm kind of just working through it, and I'm just happy that you're here with me, because when you're with me, I'm happier. And then they kiss. So much for just being friends, but now we can root for them again, I guess. Rick goes to the morgue. Turns out he's been bribing the people that work there to keep Joe in the lockers. Yay! He tells us that he doesn't plan on ever putting Joe in the ground because he is planning on bringing her back to life. Okay, and then he looks at her dead body. We don't have to, thankfully, but he does. Bo has a little scar on his neck. It's like a perfect little X. He's looking at it in the mirror. Valerie comes up behind him and is like, you shouldn't hide your scar, Bo. You're a survivor. So, like, maybe this is why he's mute? We don't really know, but by the way, Bo doesn't talk. I think I said that, but he doesn't talk. Nora and Mary Louise found Malcolm in the town square. They bring him in. Everybody starts freaking out. Lily comes running in and sees him. Immediate waterworks. She's holding him. She's sobbing. It's very upsetting to watch. She's like, who took him from us? And we should all be afraid. Enzo comes over to Caroline and kind of picks on her while she's journaling to Elena about how she made out with Stefan. He tells her about Malcolm's death to prove that he's decided to be on the Mystic Falls gang's side. But then when she gets up to go tell Stefan what's happened, he shoots her up with vervain. So he was lying and he's working with Lily again. We go back to Damon being woken up, and now we know that this moment where Stefan is going to get Damon and waking him up in the coffin is 3 years later. So Damon sits up and he's like, Stefan, what are you doing? I told you not to bother me. What's going on? Then like stakes get shot through the coffin lid and he's like, she's back? Stefan goes, my scar opened up this morning. I figured she was back, but I didn't know how close she was. Damon's like, well, get used to it, brother. She's not gonna stop until you're dead. And they run. What is going on? This show... Okay, we open with another 3 years in the future flash forward. Caroline's working at a morning show. She gets told by her personal assistant that her fiance called and he wants to know if they can plan a trip near the wedding date to go back to Mystic Falls. She's like, he knows we can't go back there. What are you talking about? We go back to present time when the town's been evacuated. Some kids break in and are doing like Blair Witch style footage of like exploring the ghost town. They try to break into Elena's crypt, but then they get attacked. Matt shows up to save them from the heretics, but then he ends up getting knocked out, and then he wakes up still in the cemetery, but he's been like drained of blood. He's got like a little tourniquet on his arm. Rick is back at the college teaching. His class is now full because everybody wants to know what's going on in Mystic Falls, and remember, he teaches occult studies, so they're coming to him to be like, is it vampires? Is it ghosts? Is it witches? What's going on? He says everybody's fascinated by it because the reality of death is the most unbelievable thing of all. Bonnie and Rick talk. He lets us know that the heretics have now killed 10 trespassers. She's checking on him because she found out that he's trying to talk to Joe in the afterlife, and she's like, why didn't you just come to me first? At first he's like, you know, I'm over it, I've moved on, it's not a big deal. But then she wears him down and he's like, okay, so do you know what a phoenix stone is? Stefan's on patrol in town, making sure there's no trespassers around. He almost hits Bo with his car, and then when he gets out of the car, Bo attacks him so that Lily can come and talk to Stefan. He actually didn't know about Malcolm's murder yet because it was Damon and Bonnie, so he didn't have anything to do with it. Lily believes him, but she's like, I just wanted to tell you so that you would understand why we did what we did. We cut to Enzo tying Caroline up with vervain ropes. She's obviously uncomfortable uncomfortable, but he's like, just be glad it's me, because the heretics are freaking crazy. She's a dummy, so she tricks him into loosening her ropes by being like, Enzo, this really hurts. Please, can you loosen them? So he comes back over because he's nice, and he loosens the ropes a little bit, and what does she do? She grabs him around the neck with them and snaps his neck. Girl, on her way out, she gets stopped by the demon girls. Damon has moved out of the dorm, and now he's living at the Lockwood house. Stefan confronts him and is like, dude, I cannot believe you were stupid enough to kill Malcolm. Now they have Caroline, you big dummy. So Damon goes running over to Lily to beg her to take him in Caroline's place, but she refuses. Also, Damon can't get inside the house anymore because Lily changed the deed, so now somebody else owns the house and they can't get in. Rick shows Bonnie the Phoenix Stone, but she's not really vibing with it. She's like, what does it do? You think it can bring her back to life? I don't think so. He like straight up snuck into a museum when they were in New York and stole it, guys. That's how like in this he is. She tells him it's pretty, but she can't really feel any magic when she holds it. Then she tries a spell because she's like, sometimes witches will like hide magic in the object. So I think she's like trying to break it open or something. But when she goes to mess with it, she gets these like crazy visions of people like covered in blood and dying and screaming with those weird little X scars on them. She tells him that she's pretty sure whatever magic's inside the stone is evil and they should quit messing with it. And this is when us and Bonnie realize, oh, Rick already knew that. That's why he didn't tell Bonnie. Okay. Stefan is now planning to sneak into the house via the tunnels, but they can't do that because they will not be able to get into the house until they figure out what human now owns the house and kill them. Damon's having a lot of fun fighting with Lily. He's like, it's so good to have a distraction, a nemesis, an arch enemy. Can we just take a minute to imagine how funny it would have been to have the entirety of season 7 be him and Kai fighting with each other? I want you to just imagine the pettiness that would have ensued if we would have just gotten a whole season of these two just being like, and I did this stupid thing to you, and then I did this stupid thing to you, over and over again. And then Bonnie's just in the middle, like, oh no, which one do I pick? I'd have watched the shit out of that. Anyway, Stefan says that in this situation, Damon is still the villain, and he's certainly not going to take his side in the Lily-Damon fighting. Mary Louise and Nora now have Caroline strung up in their room to torture her while they wait for the funeral to start. Nora comes in wearing an out-of-fashion dress. Caroline laughs. It upsets Nora. Mary Louise is crazy, so she stabs Caroline with a eyeliner pencil multiple times. She only stops when Caroline is like, look, Elena used to live here. I'm sure her stuff will fit Nora. Just let her wear one of her dresses. Enzo isn't allowed to go to the funeral because they need somebody to watch the house, and he's having a really hard time listening to Caroline scream and cry. Damon and Bonnie catch up. He tells her about Caroline. She tells him about the stone. Once again, she blames herself because she's like, if I wouldn't have been okay with you killing Malcolm, then Caroline wouldn't have gotten captured. You guys remember when I said that Kai being like, so I guess what I'm trying to say is this is all your fault, probably wouldn't like affect her in any way? I lied. Bonnie goes to Matt to try to get his help in the Caroline situation. Remember when they bled Matt out? Yeah, it turns out that they didn't just do that for funsies. They like got the vervain out of him, tricked him into agreeing to sign the house over into his name, and then compelled him to never let the boys inside and also forget that all of that had happened. So that's fun. So now Bonnie needs to stop his heart so that the spell can go down when he dies, and then obviously she'll bring him back again. It's that thing she used to do to Jeremy for fun. Valerie goes to Caroline and gives her a book to stand on so that she's not just like hanging from the ceiling anymore. She offers to help because she also doesn't like Nora and Mary Louise, and we know this already, so us and Caroline were like, okay, nice. She must be the good sister. We're like as good as they get. She also does a little spell on Caroline and then like quickly leaves. Mary Louise comes in, kicks the book out from under Caroline's feet, and then goes to grab her, but when she touches her, like it burns, almost as if Caroline's been turned into like a human vervain bubble. Bonnie and Matt prepare to do the Heartstopper spell with a little 6-minute timer so that she doesn't accidentally hurt him. At the same time, Damon and Stefan go over to the house. Rick is running tests on the Phoenix Stone to try to figure out how to destroy it because he agreed with Bonnie that that's what they would do. Bonnie goes to restart Matt's heart, and then because Rick is messing with the stone, she gets another one of those weird visions of all the death and the screaming and the dying, so she passes out while Matt is still dead. Enzo answers the door when Damon gets to the house and says that he's the one that kidnapped Caroline and he decided to work with Lily because no matter what he does, the Mystic Falls gang never trusts him and accepts him, which is valid. They get into a fight about who Lily loves more. Enzo says that according to Lily, Malcolm was more Salvatore than Damon will ever be, and that's why they're currently burying him in the crypt with Elena. That's supposed to be spelled shut, but remember, Lily's kids are all heretics, so like we really should have seen that coming, that maybe Elena was no longer safe in a spelled coffin. That probably should have been something we figured out a while ago. At the crypt, Lily orders the kids to go in, get the coffin, get Elena out of the coffin, and dump her body in the falls. Lily goes, she can spend the next 60 years of her life underwater. Bonnie wakes up next to a still dead Matt Donovan and quickly restarts his heart. Thankfully, he wakes up, or not thankfully, depending on how you guys feel about him. I go back and forth. He's annoying. Is it funny that he never dies? A little bit. It's a little funny to me that he just never freaking dies. He should have a long time ago, but he's not going to. Stefan gets in the house and saves Caroline, but he can't touch her either, so how's he gonna carry her out? Damon's over in the cemetery now, so he is not there to help Stefan with Caroline. He sees that the crypt's been broken into and the coffin is gone. He starts breaking stuff, and Lily is like, oh, you always threw the worst tantrums. She tells him that they put Elena under a cloaking spell, and now she's the only one who knows where she is. She picks on him a little bit with this like memory story where she's like, remember when you broke my vase? And you wouldn't tell me that you'd done it, you just kept lying, so I took all your toys, and then you finally told me the truth. And Damon's like, Elena is not a toy. And she's like, Malcolm was not a vase. She kind of ate with that, I'm not gonna lie. She kind of ate that up. We learned here that Malcolm was like the glue to the family, even though he was like the golden child and kind of annoying. He was also like the one that saved Mary Louise from the streets and the one that kept Nora's family from killing her. He reunited Beau and Valerie. I'd love to know more about that. And he was Lily's voice of reason. Damon's like, okay, whatever. Tell me what you want. Caroline and Stefan are still trying to get out of the house. I can't imagine why he didn't just suffer for a few minutes and run really fast. It's not like you have vampire speed or anything, sweetie. So they had to bundle her, and now that she's like fully clothed, he's holding her and trying to get her out, but all of a sudden they start feeling this like pull where they go in different directions. He gets yeeted out the window, she gets dragged down the staircase, and then we see Enzo with the maid that Lily hired, and he's like, go ahead, invite her in. The maid invites Caroline in, meaning that now she's the owner of the house, and he looks at Caroline and goes, sorry, love. Bonnie feels horrible for hurting Matt, and he's like, Bonnie, it's really okay. It's not like it's your fault. It's Damon's fault. This all goes back to Damon. It's all so messed up and convoluted, okay? Everybody's making bad decisions, but in this moment, Bonnie is like, no, actually, it's my fault that the heretics got out, so I helped Damon kill Malcolm. And then it was my idea to stop your heart in order to save Caroline. He's struggling a lot with the fact that, like, the town that he loves and loves protecting is empty and devoid of life, and like there's no point in any of it anymore. So she convinces him to fight with her to get it back. Stefan's pissed that Damon ran away to the cemetery and didn't help him with Caroline, and now she's kidnapped again, so they get into a fight. But then Damon is like, you know, you should really lay into me while you can, because I'm about to not be here anymore and you might not see me again, dude. So it's okay, I'll take it. Give me what you got. Stefan's like, what are you talking about? Where are you going? Turns out Damon made a deal with Lily. She will give him back Elena as long as he leaves town and never comes back. They realize, though, that Lily's actually punishing both of them to ensure that they fight. So that's why they took Caroline, because now Stefan's mad at Damon. Stefan is like, oh, okay, well then let's just not fight. And Damon's like, no, better plan. This is why I'm the older brother. You're gonna go to mommy and you're gonna play nice and you're gonna pretend to hate me so that you can get on her good side. And I am gonna go get that sixth brother that's missing, and I'm gonna use him as a bargaining chip to get Elena and Caroline back. Rick lies to Bonnie about destroying the Phoenix Stone and goes back to the morgue. Thankfully, instead of using Joe's body for this, he just walks over to a random cadaver on the table, pulls back the sheet, puts the Phoenix Stone on the person's chest. They wake up. Then when he takes the stone away, they die again. Enzo is in the Salvatore living room playing guitar. Kill me now. Lily comes to sit with him and she's like, listen, you really helped us out today. Would you like me to move Caroline to your room so that the girls leave her alone and you can have her? And he's like, no, actually, I don't care what happens to Caroline, okay? She can be with the girls, it's fine. He asks if she considers him part of her family, and she assures him that she does. She loves him just the same as all the other heretics. Oh, I don't even want to say this next part. He looks her dead in the eye and is like, that's the problem, Lily. I don't want to be treated like one of your children. No. Then he like looks down at her mouth and plays with her hair. And he says that he only joined the family for her. I need to leave. She is shocked, like also a little into it. She's like, oh, he is cute though, okay. As he walks away, still holding his guitar, he's like, I'm taking a guest room in the East Wing, and just disappears. Because Caroline told Nora about Elena's clothes and then complimented the second dress and said it was a better choice, Nora lets her down so that she can walk around the room. She tells Caroline that she shouldn't trust Valerie because even though she's a good actress, she's not the nice sister. They don't have a nice sister. They're all fucking crazy. Then she gives her one of Stefan's journals. It's apparently the first thing that Valerie looked for when they realized that the prison world they were in was from 1903. It has an entry that Stefan wrote about meeting a girl named Valerie. We go back to the 3 years in the future moment. Okay, Caroline is now talking to her PA after the morning show. She wants to call her fiance back to finally talk about the Mystic Falls trip. He's like, yeah, okay, absolutely. Also, Stefan Salvatore called, and she's like, if he calls back, tell him I'm not here, and I never want to hear that name again. And then as she walks away, someone shoots and kills her PA with a stake, and then shoots her. All right, we open this one still in 3 years from now mode. Stefan calls Tyler. He's trying to get a hold of Caroline, and Tyler's like, I don't want to get in the middle of whatever you guys have going on. And Stefan is like, no, you don't understand. My scar opened up and someone needs to tell Caroline. Tyler's like, yeah, okay, I'll tell her. You need to start running, Stefan. Stefan torches his little red car, but saves his journal before the car explodes. In the present day, Bonnie's writing to Elena to fill her in about how Lily kidnapped her and now they don't know where Elena's body is. But also she's still having those weird visions of the death stuff from the Phoenix Stone, and every time it happens, she like loses time to the visions. Rick is being shifty, and now Damon is staying with him to hide from Lily. So Damon just keeps moving houses. Bonnie comes over to make sure that Rick actually destroyed the stone. He lies again. Damon invites them to Myrtle Beach because he's ready to go find Oscar, which is that missing 6th heretic brother. Caroline is now reading all about Stefan's time with Valerie while Nora and Mary Louise torture her for funsies. Stefan calls to check on her and she asks him who Valerie is, and he's like, what? Are you talking about one of the heretics? Valerie comes in and takes the phone from Caroline and then also starts torturing her a little bit. Stefan is like, Caroline? Caroline, are you there? What happened? And then gets off the phone and sees Lily outside trying to learn how to drive. He pretends to be mad at Damon to see if he can soften her up to freeing Caroline, but it's not really enough. Then he asks if one of the heretics is named Valerie, and she's like, yes, actually. Valerie worked in Lily's TB ward, so Lily knew her first. Turns out Lily sent her to see Stefan. So we get a flashback of Stefan at the town fair in Mystic Falls and Valerie showing up and him meeting her. Caroline then wakes up with Valerie and is like, look, can you just tell me what happened? Like, who were you to Stefan? And Valerie is like, oh, I was Stefan's first love. I'm sorry? Lily is walking back / giving us a little bit more detail about the whole, like, I deserted my kids arc, but now she's saying that when she was getting ready to go to Europe, she needed to know that they were safe, so she sent Valerie to check on Stefan to ensure that he was doing okay before she left. Also, she had a boyfriend, and that's why she was leaving to go to Europe, was because of the boyfriend. All we learn about him right now is that his name is Julian, and he's the man you're not supposed to fall for. Oh God, I don't like him. We get another flashback where we can see Julian being weird. He's at this fair too, doing like a kissing booth thing, even though at this point, we can assume he's still dating Lily. I don't like this guy. He's being all weird watching Valerie and Stefan talk to each other. Stefan assumes that Julian must be her dad, and she's like, yeah, no, absolutely not. But Julian is like, you know the rules. Like, Lily told us not to get too close to him. You're breaking the rules. You need to come home with me. We need to leave. Valerie tells Julian she's got it under control and he's overreacting, but then back in present day, she tells Caroline, yeah, no, I absolutely lied. I was down bad for Stefan immediately. Upon meeting him, I was like, that's the man I want to marry. That's my little human golden retriever. Sign me up. Caroline initially is like, I've actually heard this story before. Catherine Pierce did the same thing. She had to compel him into loving her too. Valerie's like, joke's on you. I wasn't a vampire yet. I was just a witch, exiled from my coven. She had a little amulet though, okay, that had magic in it that she could siphon from in case of emergency. Oh, okay. So we do, in fact, have a historical record of safely giving the siphons away to draw power so that they don't feel like they're not witches. I wonder if we have record of that in the Coven archives. I can't stand your ass. I hate you, dude. Back at the fair, Valerie and Stefan use her magic to hide from Julian so that he can't catch them. They go off together and Caroline's like, so what happened next? And Valerie's like, I'm not gonna tell you that initially. And then when Caroline pushes her, she's like, okay, I was Stefan's first time. Get it off my screen. We have to watch. Damon, Rick, and Bonnie have gone to Oscar in Myrtle Beach. The plan is for Bonnie to use a spell, Rick to shoot him with some vervain, and then Damon's gonna snap his neck so they can kidnap him. But Bonnie would also like to see if he can siphon away the visions she's having, since the visions are magic. That's a good plan. It will probably work. The siphon powers, they can kind of do anything, so I'm sure it'll be fine. They go to the hotel that Oscar's staying at. Oscar opens the door, and instead of freaking out, he's like, whoa, Damon Salvatore, you're alive? Oh my God, bro, come in. This is incredible. Inside the hotel, he's got body after body after body. He's just been eating people for several days. He turns to Rick and he's like, friend with the vervain gun, could you holster that so I can feel a little bit more comfortable? Thank you. He says, of course he knows who Damon is. He's Lily's son. So when Valerie was sent to check on Stefan, Oscar was sent to check on Damon. He's a weird little dude, guys. He's got fun energy. I really like him. Also, he's hiding from Lily. That's why he's in Myrtle Beach. Stefan is now teaching Lily how to drive. He says that Valerie was just a distraction to the pain he was feeling about losing Lily and then Damon going away to war. We get a flashback to post-hookup where he takes Valerie to Lily's grave and he tells her that like he brings flowers every day. It's been 6 years, but he's still trying to like repent for his failures. We learn that the day Lily was taken to the sanitarium, he was sent to like get flowers for her tea and he didn't get home in time. And by the time he got home, she'd been sent away because she'd gotten worse. And he's always believed that if he had just run a little faster, he could have saved her. Valerie is like, oh, no, clearly your dad lied to you because the flowers he sent you after don't have any medicinal properties, okay? So you could not have done anything with those. Also, you were 10, so I'm sure he just wanted you out of the house so you didn't have to watch. That sucks, though, that you didn't get to say goodbye. Your dad sucks, dude. Yeah, he does. You guys remember Giuseppe? The worst guy around. I mean, bad fathers. Nobody's got a good one. Julian then shows up and is like, Valerie, get in the carriage. We're leaving right now. She tells Stefan she has to go with him, but she promises him quietly that she'll find her way back to him one day. Caroline's like, oh, okay. So this is like the Notebook, except you never reconnected and he forgot all about you. Valerie brushes it off a little bit and basically just says that Julian convinced her to lie to Lily. And she says like, no one's ever been able to not give Julian what he wants. So basically, she just got on the boat with the family and went to Europe and left Stefan behind. Oscar tells the trio that he has been just doing whatever he wants for a while now because he doesn't want to be with Lily and the family. He just wants freedom. They tell him that if he'll siphon away Bonnie's visions, they will not tell Lily where he is. And he's like, absolutely, come here, Bon Bon. And he takes Bonnie's head and starts siphoning the visions away. It works. But then he sees the visions as he's taking them from her. So he lets Bonnie go and he's like, where's the Phoenix Stone? Up to this point, he's been like so chill and laid back, but now he's like, how do you know about the Phoenix Stone? Where is it? Give it to me right now. And he starts slinging spells around and fighting everybody. He takes the 3 of them down in like 10 seconds. It's insane. So they wake up and Oscar is gone. Rick is like, he took the stone. And Bonnie is like, the stone? I thought you destroyed it, Rick. And then it turns out that Damon also knew that Rick still had the stone, so they were both lying to her, so she's mad at Damon again now. And he's like, no, no, no. I just kept Rick's secret, okay? I lied by omission, which is not the same as a lie. Yes, it is, Damon. Go away. He does leave. He tells them to work it out amongst themselves, and he goes after Oscar. Bonnie is livid with Rick, and he's like, Bonnie, we came back, okay? We cheated death, which means we can do the same thing for Joe. She's like, Rick, we were on the other side, okay? It doesn't exist anymore, so I don't know where Joe's spirit is, but we can't just pluck her out of the ether and put her back in her body. That's not how it works. He says that Joe was the love of his life, and if he doesn't try everything to get her back, then he might as well have just stayed dead. Lily is trying to bond with Stefan, but he's kind of annoyed about the whole Valerie situation. She is like super sure that Valerie would not have hurt him and that it must have been real and something must have happened. He says, oh, do you not know? She promised me she'd come back to me, and then she didn't show up. So clearly it was all a joke to her, and she was just like having fun with my emotions. Yeah, he got a telegraph and everything from Valerie saying like, I want to be with you. I want to run away with you. I'm going to leave my family for you. And he waited and waited and waited, and she just never came. Caroline asks how Valerie could have ever abandoned Stefan because he's the perfect boyfriend. So why would you ever give up on him? Valerie is like, there was a change of plans. We see flashback her running away from her family, trying to get back to Mystic Falls. But Julian showed up and stopped her. He says Lily won't leave without her children, and he has to go to Europe that day. He can't have Valerie screw this up for him. He gets all up in her face and he's like, do I frighten you? Because I can hear how fast your heart is beating. Both your hearts, actually. Does Stefan Salvatore know you're carrying his child? No. Whoa! Damon corners Oscar again and says that he does actually remember him. He lied before because remember when Damon was in the Civil War, but he was fighting for the South because of where they lived? Yeah, so he was like, I didn't want to talk about that in front of my friends. I bet you didn't, Damon. I bet you didn't. Oscar reminds us that Damon didn't want to be fighting for the South, and he was only doing it because of his dad, and he didn't want to disappoint him. Damon says that Oscar compelled him to take sick leave, and then his whole regiment died the next day. So he's like, you saved my life, dude. Oscar, once again, like Valerie, is like, I wasn't a vampire yet, homie. I just talked to you human to human, and we made a connection, and I touched your heart, and you changed your plans. Oscar goes, now I want to be the deserter, okay? I want to get out of Lily's army. I don't want to be with her. I don't want to do her bidding. I just want to vibe, all right? I just want to have a good time and enjoy my life. Let me go and we don't have to fight anymore. He also gives him like a little piece of advice, and he's like, a lot of people want the Phoenix Stone and you are better off far away from it. They get into a fight. Oscar's absolutely gonna win, but then Bonnie shows up and she's on like X Games mode, so she does like a really scary spell on him, and then Rick shows up, shoots him up with Vervain, and they knock him out. Bonnie finds the stone on Oscar, gives it back to Rick, and is like, never lie to me again. Caroline's still locked up reading the journal. Lily comes in trying to find Valerie. Then she switches tactics randomly and is like, Caroline, your mom just died, right? And Caroline's like, yeah, she did. And I really don't want to talk about it with you, dude. Lily's like, okay, rude. I was just trying to find out how you ever came back from that and if you had healed from it yet and what it felt like. Caroline is like, don't you know what it feels like? Like, you must have had a mom, dude. Everybody has a mother. You know that the love between mothers and their children is different than like any other kind of love out there. Then she gives Lily the journal so that she can read Stefan's words about how much he missed her and loved her for herself. Then Lily lets Caroline go as a reward for Stefan's honesty. And as Caroline is leaving, she thanks Lily. We see Stefan sitting on a bench that's the same one he was sitting on waiting for Valerie back then. She comes over and sits with him and says that when they were in the prison world, she would come to the bench every day to think, and it's nice to see that he still does it too. She tells him the truth, which is that when Julian came and stopped her from leaving that night, He beat her and he knocked her necklace off and it broke so she couldn't get to the magic, so she was defenseless. He killed the baby and she nearly died, and then she woke up on the boat. Julian had lied to Lily and said that he found her like that and was like, oh my God, Valerie got robbed and mugged. This is terrible. We need to go to Europe. Lily gave her her blood to heal her, and so Valerie's better, but now she's trapped under this like truly unhinged man that's like very evil. And Lily is like so smitten with him, okay? She just thinks he's the best and trusts him completely. Trigger warning once again for self-harm. Valerie so badly didn't want to live under Julian's thumb that she took laudanum and then drowned herself in the bathtub, but I don't know how she didn't realize she still had Lily's blood in her system, so she wakes up and she's the first heretic. I take back what I said about Lily being smart and coming up with this idea on her own. Turns out it was an accident. Anyway, Valerie tells Stefan that she's so sorry for everything. And then we see that she's actually been cloaking herself. So this whole time she was talking to him, he didn't know she was there. I actually kind of love that scene specifically, not gonna lie. Bonnie is now helping Rick, but she explains to him that because Joe's spirit is not just like waiting behind a veil for them, they are straight up doing necromancy in the woods. Then Rick takes Bonnie to the morgue and shows her Joe's body to be like, I've been paying off the workers so that we can keep her preserved. She's still in there, I know it. It's so upsetting. He assures Bonnie that he knows what he's getting into, but he can't do it on his own, and she agrees to help him. Damon calls Lily to be like, I have Oscar. Unless you give me Elena, I will kill him. He tells her that he has a new family too, and he'll do anything to protect them. That's a good line. We go to Stefan drinking, dealing with all his guilt and confusion, and then Caroline comes home, so she's safe. She spills the beans that she knows all about Valerie, and he's like, look, I was young and human when I met her, okay? And she's like, yeah, well, I was young and human when I met you, and I know the exact moment when I first saw you. I bet you can't tell me that about me, because when I met you, you were with Elena. Then she very quickly is like, I'm sorry, that's not fair at all. You were with Elena. I just answered my own question. Ignore me. She wants to know if Valerie being out changes anything for him, and he's like, Caroline, I don't care about what could have happened or what would have happened if she'd made it to me. It doesn't matter because it's in the past, and now I'm with you, and I'm happy that I'm with you. But they still can't touch, so no kissing. Oscar wakes up, but Valerie is with him now. She tells him he's somewhere in the college town, but Lily doesn't know where he is because she did a locator spell to find him on her own. She asks if he found Julian, which is what he was sent away from the family to do. He says, yes, I did in fact find him weeks ago, but I have been hiding from everyone because I wanted to party. She also kind of plants the idea in his head to like bargain chip Julian's location in order to get out of the family, and he's like, sister, that is a brilliant idea. I will in fact be doing that, thank you. She tells him he has a sweet soul and he's been a very good brother to her, and then she reaches into his chest and rips out his heart and says, but Julian is the devil and I can't risk Lily finding him. Y'all, I told you I don't watch this season every time, so I definitely forgot about the Valerie and Stefan arc. Completely slipped my mind. Forgot Oscar. Forgot he died in the first episode we meet him in. Completely forgot that. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, am I gonna like this one? And then I was equally devastated when he died. And also I forgot Julian because I blocked that MFer out. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. That's gonna do it for this week's gossip session. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like the video and comment down below. I love talking to you guys each week. It's such a fun part of like my weekend once I get the video up to go back and talk to y'all. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you so soon. Have a good one. Bye.